Welcome to our tribute video, a heartfelt space to honor those who have left a lasting mark on wrestling and our lives. Today, we celebrate their incredible journeys, reflect on their powerful legacies, and cherish the unforgettable moments they gave us. We'll also discuss the latest news about WWE star Hendry, whose recent challenges have deeply resonated with fans worldwide. Join us in remembering their stories, preserving their impact, and keeping their legacies alive. Subscribe now to be part of this supportive and dedicated community. Butch Reed, born on July 11, 1958, in Kansas City, Missouri, was a standout figure in professional wrestling, known for his athleticism, charisma, and commanding presence in the ring. Rising to prominence in the 1980s, Reed made his mark in major promotions such as the National Wrestling Alliance, NWA, World Championship Wrestling, WCW, and the World Wrestling Federation, WWF. Early in his career, he adopted the moniker The Natural Butch Reed, a nod to his powerful physique and natural talent. His blend of strength and agility allowed him to adapt to various wrestling styles, earning him recognition as both a singles competitor and tag team specialist. One of Reed's most iconic roles was as one half of the tag team Doom, alongside Ron Simmons. Managed by woman Nancy Benoit, and later Teddy Long, Doom became a dominant force in WCW, capturing the WCW World Tag Team Championship and engaging in memorable rivalries that elevated the division. Reed also competed on a grand stage in the WWF, including a notable appearance in the tournament at WrestleMania 4 in 1988. His intense in-ring persona and ability to engage audiences earned him the respect of both fans and fellow wrestlers. Following his in-ring career, Reed contributed to the industry as a trainer and mentor, sharing his knowledge with up-and-coming talent. His influence extended beyond the ropes, helping to shape the next generation of wrestling stars. Butch Reed, leaving behind a legacy of strength, determination, and passion for the sport. Remembered as a trailblazer and an inspiration, Reed's impact on professional wrestling remains significant, and his contributions continue to be honored by those who knew and admired him. Mike von Erich, born Michael Richard von Erich on March 2, 1964, in Denton, Texas, was a professional wrestler and a member of the iconic Von Erich wrestling family. His father, Fritz von Erich, was a legendary wrestler and promoter, and his brothers, David, Kerry, and Kevin, were celebrated stars in the ring. The Von Erichs were a dominant force in Texas wrestling, especially through their promotion, World Class Championship Wrestling, WCCW. As the youngest son, Mike followed in his family's footsteps, debuting in the early 1980s. However, unlike his brothers, Mike lacked a natural affinity for wrestling and often struggled under the weight of expectations. Despite this, he earned respect for his determination and heart, gaining a loyal fan base who admired his resilience and commitment. Mike was featured in prominent WCCW storylines, but he was often overshadowed by his brother Kerry, a major star of the era. Mike's journey was burdened by personal and health challenges. He endured injuries and chronic pain that took a toll on both his body and mind. He also grappled with depression and the immense pressure of upholding the family legacy, already darkened by the untimely of his brother David in 1984. Tragically, Mike von Erich died on April 12, 1987, from a drug overdose at just 23 years old. His came as another heartbreaking chapter in the Von Erich family's long history of loss. The tragedy of Mike's passing added to the legacy of sorrow that surrounded one of wrestling's most beloved dynasties. While his career was brief, Mike is remembered for his courage, his loyalty to family, and the pain he carried as part of a wrestling lineage defined by both greatness and grief. Ron Bass, born Ronald Hurd on December 21, 1948, was an American professional wrestler best known as the Outlaw Ron Bass. With his rugged Texan cowboy persona, black hat, and trademark bullwhip, Bass was a standout character in the world of professional wrestling, especially during the 1970s and 1980s. Bass began his wrestling journey in 1971 in the Gulf Coast territory and quickly rose through the ranks. Throughout the 1970s, he worked across various National Wrestling Alliance (NWA) territories under different aliases, including Cowboy Ron Bass, Sam Oliver Bass, and Outlaw Ron Bass. His gritty brawler style and cowboy image made him a recognizable name wherever he competed. In the early 1980s, Bass made a major impact in championship wrestling from Florida and Jim Crockett Promotions. He teamed with Black Bart as the Long Riders, forming a feared tag team. He also had high-profile feuds, notably with Barry Windham, Kendo Nagasaki, and Angelo Mosca. His most notorious storyline moment came when he turned heel by betraying Dusty Rhodes during a match where he served as the special referee, costing Rhodes the NWA title and igniting heated rivalries. Bass's feud with Barry Windham became personal, centering around a prized saddle gifted to Bass by Rhodes. This storyline culminated in a loser leaves town match, which Bass won, forcing Windham to leave and return under the mask as the Dirty Yellow Dog. Later, Bass gained national attention in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, during the mid to late 1980s, where his outlaw persona continued to entertain fans. Ron Bass. He left behind a lasting legacy as a tough, charismatic performer who brought a Wild West flair to professional wrestling. Mantaur, born Matt McGraw on May 14, 1968, in Wisconsin. The man who would become known as Mantaur carved out a niche in the world of professional wrestling with a character as unforgettable as his size. Standing 6 feet tall and weighing over 300 pounds, McGraw brought to life one of the most bizarre and iconic personas of the 1990s wrestling era. A half-man, half-beast competitor whose presence left a lasting impression on fans. Mantaur burst onto the scene in the early 1990s, quickly gaining traction for his unique gimmick. His time in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF, during the mid-1990s saw him don a bull-like mask and costume that evoked images of myth and folklore. While his in-ring performances leaned heavily on brute strength and theatricality, it was his over-the-top presentation that truly set him apart. Though Mantaur never captured championship gold, he became a cult favorite among wrestling fans who appreciated the character-driven entertainment of that era. He squared off against several major names of the time, holding his own with a style that blended traditional power wrestling with the surreal. Following his WWF stint, McGraw continued performing in independent circuits, where he maintained his mentor persona and entertained audiences well into the 2000s. He remained a beloved figure for his commitment to a character that was both absurd and strangely captivating. Tragically, Mantaur, but his legacy endures. More than just a novelty, he represented a time when wrestling embraced larger-than-life creativity. Fans and peers alike continue to celebrate his contributions, ensuring that Mantaur's hoof-stomping presence won't soon be forgotten in the colorful history of professional wrestling. David von Erich, born David Adkisson on May 2, 1958, was a rising star in professional wrestling and a central figure in the legendary Von Erich family. The son of wrestling icon and promoter Fritz von Erich, David was the older brother of Kevin Carey and Mike von Erich. Among the von Erich brothers, David was widely seen as the most gifted, both in the ring and on the microphone, earning him the reputation as the heir apparent to carry the family's legacy into the future. David began his wrestling career in the late 1970s, competing across various territories before becoming a key figure in world-class championship wrestling, WCCW, his family's Texas-based promotion. His blend of technical skill, athleticism, and charisma made him a fan favorite and a mainstay in the promotion's most memorable storylines. David held several titles, including the prestigious WCCW World Heavyweight Championship, and had high-profile rivalries with Ric Flair, the Freebirds, and the Fabulous Ones. Many believed it was only a matter of time before he became NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Tragically, David's promising career came to an abrupt end on February 10, 1984, when he died in Japan at the age of 25. Official reports cited acute enteritis, an inflammation of the intestines, as the cause. Speculation swirled around the true circumstances, with suggestions of illness, exhaustion, and infection all contributing factors. His untimely stunned the wrestling world and devastated the Von Erich family, marking the beginning of a string of personal tragedies that would plague them for decades. David Von Erich's legacy remains one of unfulfilled potential. He is remembered as the brightest star of a dynasty overshadowed by heartbreak, a symbol of what could have been in the world of professional wrestling. The original Sheik, born Edward George Fairhat on March 6, 1924, in Lansing, Michigan, was a groundbreaking force in professional wrestling. Of Lebanese descent, he leaned into his heritage to craft a mysterious and menacing Middle Eastern persona that captivated and often terrified audiences throughout the mid-20th century. With wild eyes, fire-throwing antics, and an unpredictable nature, the Sheik redefined what it meant to be a heel in the wrestling world. Launching his career in the 1940s, the Sheik quickly became infamous for his violent and unrelenting in-ring style. He regularly used foreign objects, gouged eyes, and broke rules with reckless abandon, often leaving a trail of chaos in his wake. His signature move, the camel clutch, became synonymous with pain and domination. Fans either loved him or hated him, but no one could ignore him. A major figure in the Detroit wrestling scene, the Sheik captured numerous championships during his storied career, including a run with the prestigious NWA World Heavyweight Championship. His blood-soaked feuds with legends like Bruno Sammartino and Dick the Bruiser are still remembered for their intensity and draw power. Beyond the ring, the Sheik played a vital role in shaping wrestling as both a sport and spectacle. After retiring in the late 1980s, he turned to promoting and training, passing on his philosophy of violence, mystique, and theatrical storytelling to the next generation of wrestlers. His influence is still felt today. The original Sheik wasn't just a performer. He was a pioneer who helped mold the gritty, dramatic world of professional wrestling. His legacy lives on as one of wrestling's most fearsome and innovative trailblazers. Chris Adams, born on June 24, 1951 in England, was a charismatic and technically gifted professional wrestler who left a lasting impact on the wrestling world, particularly during the 1980s and 1990s. Known for his smooth in-ring style and distinctive personality, Adams became a major star in world-class championship wrestling, WCCW, where he rose to prominence as both a beloved fan favorite and a fierce competitor. One of Adams' most influential contributions to wrestling was popularizing the super kick, a move that would go on to be adopted and perfected by future stars around the globe. His feuds with the legendary Von Erich family and his dynamic partnerships, especially with the likes of Gino Hernandez, cemented his status in the Texas wrestling scene. Adams captured several titles during his career, including the WCCW World Heavyweight Championship, showcasing both his talent and drawing power. Outside the ring, Adams was known for his flamboyant style, magnetic personality, and strong presence, helping elevate the entertainment side of professional wrestling. He also played a significant role in training future stars, including Stone Cold Steve Austin, passing on his knowledge and passion for the sport. However, Adams's life was not without turbulence. He battled addiction and faced legal troubles that ultimately overshadowed the later years of his career. Tragically, Adams died in 2001 at the age of 46 under difficult circumstances, cutting short a complex and influential life. Despite his struggles, Chris Adams remains a respected figure in wrestling history. His legacy lives on through the wrestlers he influenced, the fans who admired his work, and the moments he created in the ring. He is remembered as a pioneering talent whose flair and fighting spirit helped shape an era of professional wrestling. Joe Hendry, born on May 1, 1988, in the historic and windswept city of Edinburgh, United Kingdom, has carved out a niche unlike any other in the world of professional wrestling. Standing tall at 1.88 meters, approximately 6 feet 2 inches, and tipping the scales at 105 kilograms, around 231 pounds, Hendry is not only a physical powerhouse, but a creative force to be reckoned with. His skill set stretches far beyond the squared circle. He's an accomplished musician whose signature style blends biting humor, catchy melodies, and sharp-witted charisma. Whether crafting custom entrance songs tailored to mock his opponents or delivering scathing promo lyrics that leave crowds roaring, Hendry has made musical showmanship a hallmark of his persona. Currently, Joe Hendry holds court as the reigning TNA World Champion under the banner of Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, TNA, a position earned through grit, flair, and undeniable magnetism. But his spotlight is expanding. Thanks to a burgeoning partnership between TNA and WWE, Hendry has begun appearing on WWE's NXT brand, cross-promoting across 2 of the industry's largest stages. This rare dual-brand exposure has elevated Hendry into the upper echelon of modern wrestling, making him one of the most compelling and talked-about stars in the business today. Yet behind the curtain, the story takes a more somber tone. Hendry is quietly wrestling with a rotator cuff injury that threatens to derail his meteoric rise. Despite his vibrant energy and show-stealing entrances, Hendry has not been operating at full strength. Reports from backstage sources in TNA confirm that this injury, once a minor nag, has worsened due to his relentless schedule and commitment to high-stakes matches. The injury, a rotator cuff threatening his reign. Though Hendry continues to perform with the swagger and bravado of a dominant champion, those close to the action have noticed the signs. A slight hesitation when lifting, a grimace during hard strikes, and a protective stance favoring his right shoulder. According to medical sources within TNA, Hendry has been dealing with a chronic rotator cuff issue for several months. Initially deemed manageable, the condition has deteriorated under the strain of top-tier performances. One particularly risky decision was Hendry's participation in Unbreakable WrestleMania, a landmark event co-promoted by TNA and WWE, intended to usher in a new era of inter-brand cooperation. Hendry, knowing the magnitude of the occasion, chose to perform despite medical advice urging caution. Again, during a high-profile match on Impact this past Thursday, fans and fellow wrestlers noticed him wincing mid-move, especially during power slams and rapid transitions. Orthopedic experts warn that continued strain could result in a partial or full tear of the rotator cuff, an outcome that would likely require surgical intervention and a minimum recovery window of 6 to 9 months. For a champion carrying the torch of 2 major promotions, this would not just be a setback, it could be a detour that redefines his entire career. Management concerns. Is TNA pushing Hendry too hard? The worsening injury has sparked heated discussions behind the scenes, particularly regarding TNA's management of its top star. Whispers from the locker room suggest growing tension between Hendry and key executives, with some insiders claiming that the company is pressuring him to remain active, even at the cost of his health. Hendry is the linchpin in this new era of cross-promotional growth, one anonymous source stated. They see him as the face who can bridge 2 worlds, someone who brings legitimacy to TNA and fresh energy to NXT. That's a lot of weight on anyone's shoulders, let alone someone battling a serious injury. Comparisons are being drawn to other instances in wrestling history when injured superstars were pushed to continue, only to suffer more severe consequences later. Fans, increasingly aware of Hendry's situation, have taken to social media with hashtags like #ProtectJoeHendry, pleading with both TNA and WWE to take precautionary action before it's too late. The WWE factor, growing interest and main roster buzz. While Hendry's future with TNA hangs in the balance, WWE's interest in the Scottish star continues to escalate. His recent NXT appearances have electrified crowds, with chants erupting as soon as his music hits. Behind the scenes, it's rumored that Triple H is a strong advocate for Hendry, intrigued by his rare fusion of musicality and athleticism. Speculation is swirling that WWE is preparing a substantial offer to lure Hendry into a full-time deal once his current obligations to TNA conclude. There's even talk of a summer debut on the main roster, possibly weaving Hendry into a feud with musical characters like Elias or Rick Boogs to capitalize on his entertainer-wrestler persona. Such a move could catapult him to mainstream fame, but the ever-present specter of his shoulder injury has made WWE brass wary of jumping in too quickly. If Hendry's condition proves chronic, one WWE insider noted, that's a major risk. They don't want to build a long-term angle around someone who could be out for a year. Creative disputes, frustration behind the curtain. Adding another layer of complexity is Hendry's own dissatisfaction with the creative direction of his character in TNA. While his comedic chops and musical flair initially made him a breakout star, Hendry is reportedly eager to pivot toward a more serious, hard-hitting image befitting a world champion. He's tired of being pigeonholed as just the funny guy, a source close to Hendry explained. He wants to tell deeper stories, showcase his technical skills, and prove he can carry the company not just with laughs, but with gravitas. This creative tension may be fueling Hendry's openness to exploring a full-time jump to WWE. With rumors that NXT, and potentially Raw or SmackDown, might allow Hendry more latitude in crafting his character, the wrestler-musician finds himself at a professional crossroads. If TNA fails to evolve his persona in ways he believes reflect his full range, his departure could become inevitable. Fan reactions: a mixture of excitement and concern. To the fans who chant his name and sing along to his satirical lyrics, Joe Hendry represents a rare kind of wrestling personality, one who fuses the pageantry of classic wrestling with the emotional resonance of modern performance. His magnetic presence, quick wit, and technical in-ring talent have earned him an intensely loyal following. But even this devotion comes with concern. As word of his injury spreads, fans have flooded platforms like Twitter, Reddit, and wrestling forums with pleas for both TNA and WWE to do the right thing. The hashtag #Protect Joe Hendry continues to trend, with many insisting that the long-term preservation of Hendry's career far outweighs any short-term ratings boost. Debates rage. Should Hendry drop the title and take the time to heal, even if it halts his momentum? Or should he ride the wave while he can, risking a catastrophic setback that could bench him for a year or more? The community is divided, but one sentiment rings clear. Joe Hendry has become something special, and fans aren't ready to lose him. What's next for Joe Hendry? The path ahead is littered with both promise and peril. Multiple scenarios are reportedly on the table for Hendry's next chapter. 1. Short-term rest and recovery. Hendry could opt to drop the TNA World Championship in a storyline that accommodates his injury, giving him time to recover fully. This approach, while disappointing in the short term, could preserve his long-term viability. 2. WWE full-time contract. If Triple H and WWE leadership are serious about acquiring Hendry, they may offer a contract that allows for both rehab and a future push. This move could see Hendry return stronger, rebranded for a larger stage. 3. Continued competition. Hendry could attempt to soldier through the pain, continuing to perform across both brands. This path is the riskiest. One misstep, and the injury could turn career-threatening. Whatever he chooses, one thing is certain. Joe Hendry's moment in the spotlight is both hard-earned and well-deserved. His versatility, musical flair, and undeniable charisma have positioned him as a once-in-a-generation talent. But talent can only shine when supported and protected by the promotions that benefit from it. Conclusion: a star standing at a crossroads. Joe Hendry's journey has brought him to a critical juncture. From the wrestling rings of Edinburgh to dual-brand prominence across TNA and WWE, he has risen as a singular voice in the sport, witty, fearless, and endlessly entertaining. But the wear and tear of his commitment is beginning to show, and what lies ahead could either define him as a legend or sideline him prematurely. As executives weigh contracts and creative directions, as fans chant his name with hope and worry, and as Hendry himself contemplates the next step, the wrestling world holds its breath. Will Joe Hendry emerge from this storm stronger and more focused than ever? Or will the pressures of ambition and expectation take their toll? For now, the echo lingers in arenas and living rooms alike. Say his name and he appears. We can only hope that the next time he appears, he's healthy, empowered, and ready to seize the legacy that's clearly within reach.